5 volcanoes in the Philippines are waking up at almost the exact same time, and scientists are baffled. This kind of simultaneous volcanic unrest has never been recorded before, and what's happening could reshape the entire Pacific Ring of Fire. So, what consequences will the Philippines have, and are they in grave danger? Let's find out. Mounts Mayon, Taal, Bulasan, Canlaon, and Habak-Habak, 5 giant peaks scattered across the islands, are all rumbling to life within weeks of each other. Steam vents hiss from once quiet craters. Earth tremors rattle towns that haven't felt quakes in decades. This is no fluke. It's more like a geologic nightmare unfolding in real time. Now, the Philippines is no stranger to eruptions, but never so many at once. Each of these mountains has unleashed disaster before. Taal's 1911 eruption killed over 1,300 people. Mayon's 1814 blast buried towns in ash, and Habak-Habak's 1951 eruption wiped out villages. But now they're stirring together as if an unseen force has flipped a switch beneath the archipelago. One alarming theory is that these volcanoes might be linked deep underground. Magma chambers, long thought to be separate, could connect through hidden channels. If that's true, one eruption might trigger another in a chain reaction, turning the country into a volcanic war zone. Is this the lead up to the Philippines' worst disaster, or has it already begun? It all kicked off in April 2025, just before dawn, when the monitoring center's alarms suddenly went off. Instruments around Mount Canlaon lit up with activity. Over 60 quakes shook its flanks over the course of a few hours. It then erupted, belching a column of ash several kilometers high. Officials quickly raised its alert level and scrambled to evacuate thousands of nearby residents. Ash rained down on farms and villages as people fled to safer areas. Almost immediately, sensors in Luzon signaled trouble at another volcano, Mount Bulusan. Over the next few days, it rumbled with hundreds of quakes. White steam hissed from its summit and sulfurous gas levels spiked dramatically. The Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology warned that Bulusan could blow at any moment. Not long after, Taal Volcano, south of Manila, showed a sharp uptick in tremors and gas emissions. By the end of May, 3 major volcanoes, Canlaon, Bulusan, and Taal, were on high alert simultaneously, and the other 2 were being closely watched as well. The country had never seen so many volcanoes threatening to erupt at the exact same time. Inside the Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology Command Center, the atmosphere was chaotic. Dozens of scientists and officials worked around the clock, eyes glued to data streaming in from all corners of the country. Every few hours brought another hard decision: extend an evacuation zone here, raise an alert level there. Wait too long and people could die. Act too soon and you might evacuate tens of thousands of people for no reason. Resources were stretched thin. Field teams were dispatched to several provinces at once. Some exhausted staff grabbed quick naps under their desks between emergency briefings. For the communities around these volcanoes, the situation was terrifying. Tens of thousands of people were ordered to leave their homes with very little notice. Families crammed into schools and gyms turned into evacuation centers, clutching whatever belongings they could carry. In some areas, residents hesitated, unsure whether to trust the warnings or stay to protect their homes. Memories of past eruptions and a few false alarms fueled both fear and skepticism alike. On the slopes of Bulasan, farmers woke to find their fields blanketed in gray ash and their crops ruined. Parents tried to calm children shaken by constant aftershocks and the eerie red glow of lava in the distance. Emergency hotlines were flooded with calls. Do we really need to evacuate? Is our village safe? Meanwhile, scientists raced to figure out if this chaos was connected or just a strong coincidence. A 7.4 earthquake in Mindanao a few weeks earlier caught their attention. Could that big quake have shaken multiple volcanoes awake? Dr. Elias Navarro, a geophysicist, suspects yes. He notes the ground swelling was detected around Canlaon and Bulasan almost in sync, and gas levels at different volcanoes spiked in tandem. His hypothesis: deep underground, ancient pipes might link some of these volcanoes, so a massive jolt could disturb several at once. If he's right, one erupting mountain could stress the others into action. Other experts strongly disagree. They argue that each volcano has its own separate plumbing. New seismic imaging supports them. Each active volcano seems to have its own magma chamber with no obvious tunnels between them. Chemical tests on recent volcanic rocks back this up too. Each volcano's magma has a distinct chemical fingerprint. The scientists suspect the simultaneous unrest was triggered by regional tectonic stress, like that big quake before, affecting a lot of volcanoes at once, rather than a literal underground chain reaction. In their view, it's like several alarm clocks went off at the same time by coincidence, not because one master clock was setting them all off simultaneously. As if multiple rumbling volcanoes weren't enough, wild rumors began to spread. Social media buzzed about the awakening of a supposed Filipino supervolcano, the Apalaki caldera. This is a massive undersea crater about 150 kilometers across, possibly one of the largest calderas on Earth, hidden beneath the Philippine Sea. Posts claimed that if it erupted, it would wipe out the entire country. Geologists quickly responded that it's been extinct for millions of years and shows no sign of any activity. It's not even on the active volcano watch list. But the fact that people were worrying about a long-dead giant only highlighted the level of public panic. When 5 real volcanoes are rumbling, even an ancient monster can haunt everybody's imagination. By early June, the volcanic scare finally began to ease. Canlaon's eruption settled down without escalating. Bulasan gradually simmered quiet, and Tall's quake swarms waned. The immediate danger passed, but not before roughly 60,000 people had been affected, and around 4,000 people were displaced from their communities. Millions of dollars worth of crops and infrastructure were damaged by ashfall and quakes. Thankfully, very few lives were lost, but the psychological toll was huge. Entire communities lived on edge for weeks, and many residents remain jumpy whenever the ground shakes even a little bit. Now comes the aftermath and reflection. The government and scientists are reviewing why so many volcanoes stirred at once and how their emergency plans held up. There are calls to upgrade monitoring equipment and draft protocols for handling multi-volcano crises. Yet some local leaders are wary of overreacting in the future, worried that constant high alerts could hurt tourism and livelihoods, especially if this were a freak occurrence. Behind closed doors, a confidential report warned that if current patterns continue, the odds of multiple big eruptions in the near future are higher than anybody wants to imagine. That document was deemed too alarming for public release, but it shows how seriously experts are taking this cluster of volcanic activity. Whether this simultaneous awakening was a once-in-a-lifetime fluke or a sign of something bigger brewing, one thing is certain: the Philippines has been reminded how volatile life in the Ring of Fire can be. In 2025, 5 of its most dangerous volcanoes rumbled to life together for the first time in history. Scientists are still investigating whether it was pure chance or if subtle connections exist between these fiery mountains. But the rest of us are left with an uneasy question. Could it happen again, or even on a larger scale? Living in the shadow of volcanoes means never knowing what's next. All we can do is stay prepared and vigilant, because when nature decides to act, it can astonish the world in the blink of an eye. So what are your thoughts? Let us know in the comment section down below. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Before you go, please remember to like and subscribe.